Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Entitled mother was gone for 18 years, came back, then complained because I wasn't going to give her royalties. So this is insane, and I get that some won't actually believe me. Honestly, it's hard to believe at times myself due to the pure hate this woman has for me. My 28-year-old female parents have always been my mom, stepmother, and dad. They didn't tell me about, let's say, Karen, not her real name, being my birth mother. She left my dad and I for another man. Honestly, after everything happened, I know why. My birth mother is a horrible, lying manipulator. My mom tried to adopt me so that I wouldn't get caught up in this senseless feud, but she refused to give over parental rights, even though she left when I was 5 months old and didn't dare try to contact me. My 18th birthday rolls around and I get this message from her. I didn't know who it was and I asked my parents. After a heated argument, they told me and I ended up being allowed to go meet her in a totally different state. I got to meet her and my 2 youngest sisters. Unfortunately, my eldest 2 sisters couldn't come. The first thing she said upon meeting me was, "You look like your grandma." I hated her. That started off a roller coaster of 6 years. I found out that she told everyone I died when I was a baby, that she told my sister some pretty horrible things that weren't true about my character, convinced my great-grandma who had Alzheimer's that I stole money from her. She also went as far as claiming she never wanted me and I shouldn't have existed. When I visited, it was like she didn't want me there, even though she was the one who demanded I come over to them. There's so many more things she did. A huge one was stealing things that were meant for me that my late uncle left for me. Well, I decided that I'd pray for her and just hope she'd find happiness in her life so that she didn't do this anymore. I blocked her from my Facebook. I don't have a Facebook anymore. Everything. She didn't exist anymore in my book. Jump forward to last year. I've been working on writing this novel for the longest time. Fantasy novel I've been planning out now for over a decade, and I'm finally making good progress on it. I do talk to some of the elders in the family. That side is a huge Arab Greek Orthodox family, hell-bent on keeping the family together, and they accepted me and wanted me around. And a few cousins who I thought didn't talk to her. The elders do have her on Facebook, but they don't really talk to her and have made a promise that they won't tell her about me. Anyways, my cousin told her that I was writing a book and that I was dead set on either sending it to publishers or publishing it myself by the end of 2022. She said, "Oh, really? That's interesting." My cousin, who's never actually thought crap through, told Karen, thinking it wouldn't harm anything. He came to me and said that he may have made a mistake and to be careful about responding to her. The next day, I received a message from my sister that I should unblock Karen because something bad happened. Not really connecting the two, I unblocked her. She messaged me stating, "Well, since you stole Grandma's money, I'm going to sue you for every penny you get from that book." Karen, you do need proof about that accusation. I didn't steal anything. To be honest, I don't know where you got the idea from, but I wouldn't do that. I was taught better than that. Yes, you did, and I'll make sure to get that back. Karen, she's passed away. I have nothing to do with great-grandma's missing money if there is any. Plus, how would you sue me for a book I've yet to publish that'll be under a pseudonym anyways? Are you going to just randomly sue me? I'm unsure where you think I have the money, seeing as how I'm on disability. I mean, why don't you use the money you stole from my trust fund Grandpa set up for me? I have proof that you're a liar and a cheat. You're not disabled, plus I have no idea what you're talking about with the trust fund. Grandpa told Dad and Uncle Danny about the fact Grandpa set aside one for each of us and made you the beneficiary in our stead. That's a lie. You know I've left you alone. According to you, I don't exist. I never tried to use you on my college applications. I never included you in my memorable moments because you demanded I act like you don't exist, so you can take my trust fund and your fake memories and go away. You'll never see a dime. You owe me. I'm your mother. You should have been aborted. It's not like you have anyone who really wants you. What? You were never my daughter, nor were you my friend until you realized that. Don't talk to me. I don't understand. You told me these things. You're right. You're not my mother, so goodbye. Yeah, I haven't heard from Karen since, so maybe that taught her. I don't know, I just feel bad she has this much hate for someone who's her flesh and bones. Guess you shouldn't have kicked away your kid who loves to write. That may be your downfall. Like I tell my friends, your words and actions can and will be used in one of my books, and it may not be to glorify you. Wow, she needs a life. I'll never understand why people are like that. And our second story. You have to work here. You're a woman. My local hardware store is full of helpful hardware folks, which means there's not much of a uniform, but floor associates wear bright red vests and managers wear business casual with a name tag. I was wearing khakis, flats, and a cute red micro-plaid button up top. I was on my way home from a blissfully short day at work, so I figured it'd be a good day to get some tools to make some simple repairs and some materials for a remodel that my partner and I have going on in our second floor bathroom. I was trying to get a couple of items from the top shelf, but only being a touch over 5'4" tall, I have a little bit of an issue, especially since they're the last two on the shelf. I managed to get the first one battled into my hand, but the second one is pushed back just enough that I can't exactly reach it. Enter Jethro. Jethro walks over and with a "let me help you, missy," grabs the box I'm trying to reach and hands it to me. Thanks. I keep my praise short because I'm not sure if he's just trying to be a good guy and help me, or if he's of the train of thought that a woman does not belong in a hardware store, except to be a cashier or arm candy for their husband. He wastes no time removing any doubt. I can't believe they'd make you pull items and not let you have a step stool. Oh no, sir, I don't work here. I start, only to be cut off by Jethro. You have to work here. You're a woman. What else would you be doing in a hardware store? Jethro says. And why doesn't Jeb work here anymore? That old boy was one of the best. Blah, blah, blah. I honestly tuned him out at this point. I roll my eyes, figure I don't have time for this, and start to push my cart away from him. This spurs a bellow from the depths of Jethro's beer belly. Don't you walk away from me. I'm a paying customer. I spin on my heels. Listen here, Billy Bob, Joe, Danny, Frank. I understand your original confusion. Unfortunate fashion choice on my part, but I already told you I do not work here. Thank you for getting the blubs for me, but I really do not work here. I'm here because I'm remodeling my bathroom, I yelled back at him. His tone instantly changed to this sickly sweet implied bless your heart with every little line he said. Redoing your bathroom? Well, I just happen to be a contractor, and I can help you with all the permits, he says before giving me a long, hard leer like I was a gorgeous porterhouse steak cooked to medium rare and ready to be devoured. And I'm sure we can come to an agreement that'll make it worth both our whiles. Instant mouth vomit, figuratively of course, but before I can say or spew anything, enter the hero of our story, Ben. A few things about Ben. Ben's an imposing wall of muscle. Literally was a bricklayer for years before he retired and then agreed to help his friend, the owner of this store. Ben may look like he could rip the arms off of a Sasquatch, but he's a gentle giant. Ben pulls a move straight out of the Carrot Handbook. He clears his throat, getting both Jethro and myself to look over to Ben. Jethro, you know darn well that Jeb was fired because he shared your misinformed, misguided, and misconceived notions on who should and should not be allowed in this store. This is the early 20s, not the 1820s. I've had enough of your racist and misogynistic bullcrap to last me a lifetime. Set your cart down and walk away. You're no longer welcome here, Ben said with a barely concealed rage. Jethro started with the "but wells," and Ben cut him off with a curt and authoritative, "No, you leave now, or the police will come and make you leave." And with his ego massively deflated, Jethro left. I was able to finish my shopping without any further molestation after Ben apologized a couple of times, and we did have a good laugh about the fact that I did look like an employee. And our next story. Entitled mom threatens to call HOA over yard work. Backstory. So during this whole quarantine kerfuffle, my dad offered to pay me to help him trim up a couple of trees around our property. I'm out of school for a while, so I agreed. Today we were working on one tree at the front of our yard. My dad was using a chainsaw to cut down a tree that had grown next to the tree we were trimming. I was standing off to the side, watching, trying not to get hit by the tree. It was like 12 feet. when my neighbor, entitled Mom, walks up and taps me on the shoulder. EM, excuse me, but what are you doing to that tree? I just want to point out that I've never really met my neighbors. I just know who they are. Me, oh, hey EM, we're just clearing out the areas below the trees. EM, well, you can't cut it down. Me, what? I thought she meant the trees that we're already cutting down? Oh well, we're clearing out under the tree to make it look nicer. EM, no, not that one, the main one. Me, we aren't cutting it down. EM, yes you are. Now tell him to stop. Me, trust me, my father isn't going to cut down that tree. EM, do it or I'm going to tell the HOA. Me, all right then. Small pause. Are you gonna tell them or what? EM, teens these days are so stupid and sassy. Me, see ya EM. I walked away. Just to let you know, EM has tried several times over the years to report us to the HOA, but first off, we don't have one. Second off, she keeps trying to form one behind our back, but all of our other neighbors are against it. She threatened to call the police on my family before, and her nice husband had to talk her down from it. My father asked what she wanted, and I just told him she was acting crazy. He totally agreed, and we cut the second tree. And our last story. I previously had a boss that was adamant that I kept paper copies of all reports. Despite the fact that the company only mandated that we keep records on the computer, she insisted that we keep weekly files, about 20 to 30 sheets each. Well, we didn't have dedicated offices, but of 6 managers, we all shared 3 computers in 3 large offices. Because each office had its own purpose, as did each manager, we often had to file each other's paperwork. Something was left on the printer or desk, we all liked each other and didn't have a problem helping each other out. Well, our boss had her own office that was just used for meetings, which was very small, and no one, including her, used it unless a big boss showed up. When the building first opened, keeping these files wasn't an issue. We had a small filing cabinet, and for the first 6 months it held everything. But we have an extreme lack of storage, so I asked, when the cabinet got full, where should I put the old files? I was told all the places I suggested were not secure enough and to figure it out. Well, our offices were huge, so I put them in boxes, in stacks, out of the way. No good for boss lady. Tried in a corner in a server room, no good. I moved these boxes at least 5 times over the next 2 years when it hit me. We now had about 30 boxes of employee files, reports, invoices, and everything else stacked up. All the managers together knew what we had to do. We put about 50 storage boxes into her small office by the time it all went down. To be fair, the blueprint showed it should have been a storage room. We did leave a path to get to her desk and enough room so that people could still meet. When we finally did have a head manager visit, he instructed her to get rid of the files because it was a security hazard, and what was she thinking keeping them around? We got to spend 2 days listening to music and shredding papers. I've never seen someone so mad in my life, and it was a nice reminder that it's the little things. I think we got the next Einsteins right here. Maybe not geniuses at physics, but geniuses in their own right. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.